name is Brian Glass, and I'd like to welcome you to my speech. John, if you could show the intended audience, including the ones down here. Without that happening. Okay. So, my speech today is why I think instant replay is bad for baseball. A little bit about why I care about this topic so much. I've been watching baseball for about 25 years. I played it a little bit, terrible at it, but still I blame John for that. I love the game. You can clearly see by my many leather-bound books. When you think about baseball, you think it's one of America's pastimes, and it's been around since the late 1800s. It's just when you think of America, you generally think apple pie, baseball, a couple things like that. Obviously, the game's played by people. The umpires are people. It's got a human element to it. There's always going to be an error, and I feel like instant replay is bad for the game, and it takes away that human element. But why was it demanded for baseball? You got this right here. That's the example of the blown calls. You could clearly see for the Detroit Tigers Cleveland Indians game. The pitcher right there had his foot on the bag. The runner was not like a step or two away from the bag, but the umpire still called him safe. So the pitcher was Armando Galarraga for the Tigers. Again, he was 1 out from a perfect game, which means he had 27 possible outs. He would get all 27 in a row with nobody reaching base at all for whatever reason. The umpire was visibly upset after the game, apologized for the mistake after seeing the review, but again, the umpire's decision is final, and at the time, the managers didn't have a way to challenge the call to get it overturned, because if they did, they would have the perfect game. And that's one of the reasons why we have instant replay now. Now, as far as replay of what it is, basically each manager gets 1 replay per game. If you get it right and the challenge is overturned, you get to keep yours and try it again later in the game. If you're wrong, you lose it and you're not able to make any more challenges, except you can go to the umpire, request that they review the play, and most times they will. But the problem that comes into this is that the time it takes altogether is time that takes from fans from getting home or fans from staying entertained in the game, because the pace of play has been a big issue for baseball for a long time. It's something that they've been trying to address. And they've done a good job with that, because you see, according to fanside.com, they were averaging about 3 hours and 2 minutes, and it went down to 2:53 because of the other changes they made. But the fact that they still kept instant replay is something that, if they took it away, would easily take about 10 to 12 minutes off the game. We're talking about time to challenges, time to see if they want to make the challenges, every other thing in between. It takes roughly about that much time out of the game that it really isn't necessary. Now, the reason that they brought it in was not just because of that blown call, but because of the other sports have it, and they wanted to be as, contemporary as the other sports. Now, this is an example of what they do. They put the headsets on, if the feed goes back to New York, there's an umpire sitting at the Major League Baseball headquarters. He reviews the play, sends his decision back to these guys, and then they make a ruling based off of that. Now, again, these generally take anywhere from a minute to sometimes even 4 or 5 minutes based on the severity of the call. And that's time that, again, takes away from the game, slows the game down completely, and it could lead to pitchers getting hurt because they have to warm up their arms, then you stop and you have to warm up again. It could lead to more injuries. And that goes into, again, why I think the system needs to go. Even with the replay, umpires still get calls wrong because, again, the overturn rate is still pretty high. It makes umpires look bad because their calls are questioned a lot. Because even, you're like, you know what? Yeah, maybe you did slide in second base. I'm going to challenge that. So the umpire's like, we'll just go ahead and do it anyway. So they don't really, a lot of times their decisions aren't that great because it doesn't matter. You can just review it anyway. Now, one of the things that it took out of the game, in my opinion, that I really miss, and even though this does take up time when it happens, is the manager-umpire argument, which is classic. It's always fun. The fans love it. And to show you just a little bit of what I'm talking about.
Consider Rodriguez. Did he go? Did not. He's aboard. Zunino really backed off and will let him work now. He just ran Zunino.
I don't blame him because he's trying to get out there and save his catcher from getting kicked out.
No.
Gardner's on second base because they missed the call, and right there he thought he had it again, and he's fighting for his pitcher.
Basically, he goes on, gets every umpire that's in the way, and they get their money worth. The fans love it. You know, clearly he has fun with it because you're going to get tossed and have to pay a fine for an ejection. You may as well have fun with it. But another thing about replay is, like you said with the check swing that you just saw, they don't review everything. They don't review balls and strikes. They don't review obstruction calls, and that's where the problem comes in because there's always a gray area where you should either review everything or nothing at all. So if you're not gonna review everything, I think you shouldn't have it at all. And another thing replay has done that I don't like is that it's helped make people become basically armchair umpires, where you can see the strike zone that the umpire is supposed to have. Sometimes they'll have it over here. And basically everyone thinks that the umpire's an idiot if a call's like barely on the outside or if it's off one way or the other. And they're trying to make it so exact that it takes away from the game because pitchers sometimes like to pitch on the outsides of the plate. And you can't do that if you have a computer telling you what's a ball and what's a strike. Now they have tried using computerized umpiring in different ways, and that was not a good example of how that worked at all. But again, it's something that takes away from the game, and they shouldn't have it. So in conclusion, I think that replay should be gone from baseball. It helps speed up the game. It lets the umpires be umpires, and it takes away a potential chance for any injuries. Thank you for your time.